Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news. Another twist in the Sandals Royal Bahamian saga.
A government minister is predicting a fight to the finish this election season. That story straight ahead.
A man who was being electronically monitored was shot and killed by police, leaving the family searching for answers. That story straight ahead.
Plus, the FNM said to be encouraged by a public domain poll. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, on the same day that Sandals Royal Bahamian Resort made more than 600 workers redundant, documents obtained by the media reveal that Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson filed a Nolle Prosequi to have private prosecution charges against two Sandals executives discontinued. Sandals General Manager Gary Williams and Financial Controller Ronnie Mirza were charged in the Magistrates Court on August 10th with failure to enter into negotiations with the Bahamas Hotel Maintenance and Allied Workers Union, employee intimidation, and termination of an employee. The charges carry a maximum penalty of 2 years imprisonment and a $5,000 fine. The two men pleaded not guilty, and the trial was scheduled to begin on October 26th. However, a Nolle Prosequi was reportedly filed just days later. The document, dated August 15, 2016, and signed by the Attorney General, reads, "This is to authorize and require you to enter in the record a statement that the proceedings against West Bay Management Limited, Gary Williams, and Fitzroy Walker be discontinued by my direction." This as hundreds of Sandals workers were let go due to impending renovations at the resort on Cable Beach. Government has been heavily criticized for its handling of the Sandals matter. Well, a public domain poll that rated the Progressive Liberal Party as widely unpopular among dissatisfied voters is not sitting well with Education Minister Jerome Fitzgerald. However, he admits that the results prove that the PLP has a lot of work to do ahead of the next general election. Our Jasmine Brown reports.
That's right, Christina. Fitzgerald says if the poll proves anything, it's that this election will not be an easy one to win.
It just shows that the upcoming election is going to be a tough-fought election.
According to the leaked public domain poll, 18% of respondents said they would vote for the FNM, 15% said they would vote for the DNA, and 14% said they would vote for the PLP. While FNM Deputy Leader Peter Turnquest said yesterday that he was encouraged by the results, Fitzgerald says at this point, no party has a reason to celebrate because each party's approval ratings are so low. As for the leadership poll, which revealed that opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis scored higher than Prime Minister Perry Christie, Fitzgerald insisted those numbers amount to nothing.
Team effort. I don't think there's one person who can be identified as a savior. It's bigger than that. The party machinery has to get going. And those who support the Prime Minister and our leaders, as most of us do, have to go out and win our seats. As simple as that. He's going to win his. We know that.
Fitzgerald says in the end it will be an intensive battle that can only be won by the party that best mobilizes its soldiers.
It's going to be won on the ground, door-to-door, constituency by constituency, and we in the PLP know that. And we intend to continue as we have with our ground game, mobilizing our machinery. And hitting the ground, going door to door.
Now, with the general election less than a year away, Fitzgerald says he suspects the campaign season will be heating up. Reporting from Cabinet for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, the race to victory in the 2017 general election may be a tight one, but the Free National Movement is definitely ahead, according to FNM Senator Dr. Dwayne Sands, who is the latest politician to comment on the public domain poll. Despite PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts' dismissal of the poll, which shows voters are dissatisfied with the Christie administration's performance, Sands says the governing party should be very afraid.
In this race, which is clearly a tight race, the FNM is ahead. And certainly if we believe that the public domain polls are an accurate and valid reflection of the current view of the electorate, then certainly the people who ought to be afraid would be those persons in the leadership of the Progressive Liberal Party. Because certainly their approval rating is in the cesspool. And notwithstanding what their erstwhile chairman has says.
Sand says if the scientific poll is to be believed, Bahamians are sick and tired of the PLP and its leader, Prime Minister Perry Christie. Though approval ratings for the FNM and DNA weren't much better than the PLP's, Sands insisted the two opposition forces are clearly ahead.
The Free National Movement at this point, even before we gear up with the release of our platform, even before we gear up with the complete rollout of our team, is in the front. And that's not a bad position to be in. What's interesting is the Democratic National Alliance also enjoys significant support. So the two major opposition forces now account for a sizable number of potential voters.
Despite this, the FNM senator noted those numbers will change in the months leading up to the general election, and the FNM must do what it takes to win.
We have to pay attention to the landscape. We have to pay attention to it in real time, assess the likely impact, modify our approach, modify our appeal to ensure that we are very much aware of what's happening as we head towards the election campaign season in full. The goal is to have a Free National Movement government elected.
Other news, a man who was out on bail after being charged with the armed robbery of the Deputy Prime Minister was shot and killed by police yesterday evening. Police say the incident occurred after an exchange of gunfire between a group of suspects and officers. Family members of the deceased say they want answers. Dana Smith tells us more.
The incident occurred right here in Yellow Elder Gardens around 5:30 yesterday evening. Police say a group of men was standing near the road, and when officers approached, the group opened fire. Officers returned fire, fatally wounding one of the men, identified by family members as Jeffrey King, who was out on bail after being charged in connection with the armed robbery of Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis.
I would appreciate it if the commissioner, if the DPM, the Deputy Prime Minister, get involved and get to the bottom of this matter dealing with the King family.
He just changed a lot. Every Sunday he started going to church. He'd just come home Sunday and give me the oil with the pastor gave him.
Family members of King say they've been left distraught by his death and are demanding answers as to the circumstances which led to it. Brianelle Moxie, King's pregnant fiancée, said she and King were excited about starting a family and were planning their wedding, having already picked out rings. Moxie's expecting a baby girl who will be named Jeffernika in honor of her father. King, who was labeled by police as one of the country's most dangerous suspects, was pronounced dead at the scene.
As the police approached, these men opened fire on the police with firearms. The police, who are fully trained for these type of action, responded, fatally shooting one of the men. We can tell you that he is one of our most dangerous criminals. He is being electronically monitored. He is on bail for a number of serious offenses.
King was charged in connection with the December 2013 armed robbery at the West Ridge home of Philip Davis, who was acting prime minister at the time. King has denied involvement in the incident. His family members also noted he's innocent until proven guilty, and they also questioned last night's incident. They say he was armed for his own protection.
He ordered a meal of food from this gentleman's house. They sell food, and he's yet to receive that meal to eat it. When he went to pick up the food, all he heard when he went inside, plop, 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 plop.
King's uncle, Carlton King, said he acted as his nephew's guardian for the past 15 years, and the family is shocked by his death.
We love everybody, yes. We love our family. That's why we're here right now. That's a loved one, and that's my brother, only child.
And he really did like children.
And he was about to become a father. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I praying for him now.
The other men involved in yesterday's shooting fled on foot after the exchange of gunfire, police say. But officers later combing the area were able to identify one of the suspects and give chase. The man was arrested and is currently in custody assisting with investigations.
Superintendent Stephen Dean said the matter has been turned over to the acting coroner who is investigating the incident. For Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
Thanks, Dana. Well, days after former Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett said he was alarmed by Marathon MP Jerome Fitzgerald's reaction to the Save the Bays court ruling, Fitzgerald reiterated that despite his critics, he would still do it again if it means protecting his name. Simone Davis reports.
While speaking to reporters outside Cabinet this morning, Fitzgerald responded to Sir Michael's comments, saying that although Sir Michael is entitled to his own opinion, his position on the matter hasn't changed, and he's not surprised by the comments at all.
The former Chief Justice said on Saturday he finds it alarming and regrettable that Fitzgerald would defend his decision to read the private emails of Save the Bays members in Parliament even after the Supreme Court ruled that he breached STB's members' constitutional right to privacy. He said Fitzgerald's assertion that he would do it again is defiant. Well, here's how the Marathon MP responded to that.
So Michael is entitled to his view, but at the end of the day, I've said before, if you come and interfere with my integrity, then you got to understand what the consequences of that are. You better have good evidence and proof before you make these wild and outlandish statements, and at the end of the day, it backfired against the FNM and Hubert Minnis. And of course, Sir Michael was a part of the FNM cabinet, so I'm not surprised at all.
The education minister said he did not enter frontline politics to have his name tainted by allegations of corruption, adding that he is confident that as a result of him reading those emails, the opposition would think twice before accusing the government of any type of corruption without having facts.
And as a result of what I revealed, you had the chairman of the FNM resign. You had one of the head of the FNM's public relations resign from Save the Bays. It revealed that Dr. Minnis actually entertained these two young men who he accused us of being involved with from a corruption standpoint.
Sir Michael also stressed the need for those in the legal profession to remember that their paramount duty is toward the court.
And so, yeah, you could bet if I had to do it all over again, I would do it again. I said before, I did not come into politics for people to get my name mixed up in corruption. And so I made my point. Those who had ears heard, those who could feel felt. And at the end of the day, I have no doubt that those in the FNM will think twice about coming into Parliament and accusing us of corruption without having the facts to support it.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Simone Davis.
Still to come on Our News, the Prime Minister talks migration at a high-level UN meeting in New York, the latest on government's National Development Plan, and the future of wellness visits the Bahamas. That's coming up when Our News returns.